Welcome to another Howls and Growls breakdown. Today we're talking about how Anthony Edwards battled through Brooklyn's defense and some of the problems he's been having this season to help the Wolves win an ugly game against the Nets. In the first 3 quarters of this game, Edwards went 6 of 17 from the field and really looked to be spiraling toward a horrible night and potentially a horrible loss for the Timberwolves. But when winning time rolled around in the 4th quarter, he went 5 of 6 from the field and scored 11 of his 29 points as Minnesota ran away with the win. So let's take a look at how it went wrong and then what changed to make it go right at the end of this game, because I think that they're important lessons for Edwards and the team as a whole as we get into the stretch run of the season. The main problem for Edwards in this game, and really in a lot of games this season, has been that defenses load up on him and he isn't able to circumvent that defensive pressure. So he comes off this screen and it's 2 on the ball, but even when the showing defender clears out, he's got that hard stunt at him here, and Naz Reid's man is all the way off him to pack the paint and build a wall in front of him. And in the end, he just barrels into that wall and it's never a chance to result in points. That's just how defenses react to downhill forces like Edwards, and while it's not easy for a 22-year-old to overcome, it's a test that every team is going to force Edwards to pass each and every night. And that pressure is only going to be ramped up into overdrive when the playoffs begin. Again, as he brings it up here, Claxton is already hanging off Towns to provide a crowd right away, and even when Alexander Walker curls through here, Bridges stays in gap help to stop Ant's drive. It's good defense on the ball, and Bridges hangs around to hold the fort on the back line, but rather than finding a pass, Edwards is stuck with the ball and ends up hoisting another tough shot. There were a load of these kinds of possessions in this game, and even more littered through the season, and unfortunately for Edwards, that's the reality that he's ascended to. Even for a middling team like Brooklyn, defenses are so smart and well drilled against mega usage stars these days that things are never going to be easy when you've shown the capability to take over games the way that Edwards has. The key is to find ways to impact the game while the defense loads up on him like this. And in the 4th quarter, he did just that. So the defense hasn't changed. There's still 3 players building that wall against him to stop the drive or force the ball out of his hands. And you still see here that holding the ball for too long doesn't clear out those defenders. Even if his team is spacing the floor, it just builds a wall in front of him and a wall at the rim behind that first wall. So the key is to get off the ball. Make this cut through here, and now he's in the paint. Bridges has to choose between the corner and the dunker spot. They're still hyper fixated on Ant, so he can drop it off to Anderson under the ring when Bridges makes his decision to go with the corner shooter. So it might sound simplistic to just prescribe passing the ball as the medicine, but it's how he gets into the zones to make that killer pass that make all the difference here. Another way that Minnesota attempt to get around this hounding defense is to have someone else handle the ball, and for Edwards the pivot here is to get moving off the ball. So Bridges is face guarding him, and he kind of plays cat and mouse with him a bit here, gets him off balance, and then shoots into that gap. There's no backline help because they're not loading up on Edwards because he doesn't have the ball, and Towns is spacing in the corner as well, and that's an easy dunk with a simple cutting action. But naturally, Ant is going to have the ball and he is going to be asked to self-create in late game situations, and that's where it's simple tweaks that can work. Here the defense is going to come as they have been coming, and as soon as it comes hard from the middle of the floor, Edwards just zips away from it into that empty space. Now he's past that wall and he's heading downhill into a situation here with only one non-big player waiting for him, and that's when he can do special stuff as a finisher. Really, it's all about going quick and being decisive. Sometimes that's going to manifest itself in a pass, and it probably should more often, but if he's going to take that scoring responsibility on, then that needs to be done at pace as well. We see it again here. He gets his man on his back, but he's got 2 helpers closing in on him. So instead of resetting and letting the defense set itself again, he just curls back out and races into the open part of the floor, gets around the screen, and goes to the rim to draw the foul. That's a no pass possession, and that's not ideal, but there's an obvious plan there to punish the defense for collapsing in on him. And I really love when Edwards is forceful with his will to score on his own, but really it's that willingness to get off the ball early with the faith that it'll find its way back to him that will ultimately decide how often he can make teams pay for playing him this way. So he gets off it here. The low man needs to scramble to stop McDaniels. A defender has to get to the corner to prevent an open 3 ball. And another really smart dive to the rim gives Edwards the whole lane to burst into and finish off this game. And that's a masterclass in how to break a one-track mind defense without forcing up tough shots and living on a prayer that Edwards is going to cook on difficult jumpers. He moved the ball, he cut hard, and he went quick to escape the closing defense. When he does those things, it makes life easier for him, and it makes teams double think about doing it next time around. Thanks again for watching another Howls and Growls breakdown. Please subscribe for more.